Preview? I guess preview. What's the difference between preview and actually going live? Let's go live. You're live. Hello. I live. So, you may have just watched that video that I just pushed up, where I was talking about this line in my new Vim RC, which happens to now be called init.vim under this strange location .config/nvim/init.vim. So I just have about a zillion questions, why there and not just on the root, just like as a .vimrc it is used. So it's inside a config directory and inside a folder called NeoVim, not NeoVim. So you have to know that this is an official abbreviation for NeoVim. And then this, a .vim, is there a .vim extension system I'm going to need to know? Is this indicative of something else? And init, okay, so it has a special meaning because it's initialization. Yeah, alright, that's loaded, it's loaded, but I gotta live with it. I gotta live with it because I want a little bit of AI in my text editor so I can be like a cool kid. But not as cool as the VS Code people, sheeple, developers, sheer developers, something along those lines. The point is that while VS Code is awesome, it is the Microsoft way, and you will be led the Microsoft way. So if you get Vim into your fingers, if you get it into your fingers, your Vim your whole life, it doesn't matter. Bop around. VI sometimes on really old systems or really tiny systems that are toy box or busy box powered, stripped down Unixy Linux kind of thing. Or if you're on the new future thing where it's been forked 3 times, but they're going out of their way to stay Vim compatible because so many people just have it in their fingers. So I'm going to be building back up to this command while kind of starting out with this command. And I'm going to bring a feature over. Now I'm going to try and get rid of all these parameters. That's one of the things I didn't like about my last implementation. I open a file, I parse the file, I use pandas to parse the file, and all that to get to stuff that turns out I don't really need much anymore. So that old macro had everything, including like waiting there with reading input from the user. Press enter to continue is right in the macro here. Now I think I found another way to do that by just not pressing enter manually, by not automatically pressing enter at the end of the macro. I may only need this, which is how I believe we get the current path. I need to know the path you're in for this macro, so this macro can be run against different directories you happen to be in. Every repo could be a different GitHub pages published site, for example. So I guess I go look, see if there's people there. I started streaming. Yeah, this is going to be a slow takeoff, I think. I really am streaming, just no folks here. I will figure out what my most commonly used screen right now is going to be. It's almost certainly going to be here and doing this stuff. And there's going to be some Vim work. It might be interesting to watch my keystrokes. So let's pull up the Karnak. And once you pull up the Karnak, the first thing you do is you minimize the Karnak, because it's there to be running, not to be seen. So other things I guess I do now is I go grab that chat window, pop out chat. All the people who are probably disappointed that my last few videos were silent are probably like, oh, he's streaming again. I'm not going to bother to go look. It's just going to be one of those silent things again. Yeah, they're probably right. So does this get me them when they're bound together? one of these magic combinations actually does. And, you know, there's going to be a bunch of people out there going, power tools, power tools. And yeah, I guess so. Maybe eventually. I don't know. Power tools. And I don't want to screw up here either by not seeing the windows, right? If it's like this, all the chats queue up and I just don't see it. So this should be the best combination of everything. In fact, got room to spare. I can go right up to there. Room to spare right up to there. And then this should be a little bit more tiny because I guess I'm going to have that line wrap, but not as much of a line wrap issue as when I'm journaling because I guess you don't care about it as much here. So this is my what once was my Vim RC, and I said it. What once was .vimrc is now init.vim, and I don't think it's time to look into Lua anymore. Sorry, Luke. I've got a viewer out there who's going to be like, oh, do everything in Lua now. It's time to fix my macros and update slice and dice. And it's okay for me to say that here because my whole blog slice and dicing system is part of my Vim macro system, really. I mean, they're one and the same, and that is this, which is living at @p, right? That's the command that triggers it off, which we'll be replacing with this hello world. And the files are always loaded. We're looking at it right here. This is my screen 1, right? Yeah, that's my screen 1. And in my screen 1, I always have I always have on B1. Oh, I didn't have the screen activated. B1 is, you know, my daily journal. I guess I start a new one here because, you know, can't make that last one too long. And hey, it's April 1st. So happy Fool's Day or whatever. Yeah, so the web is my third screen. This is really what I want. That was just confusing me. Is it what I want, the web screen? What am I up to? I'm losing my place here. Oh, yeah. I can jump around. I can jump to my B init. And so that's how I edit this thing here. And yeah, I can jump to B skite. There's a skite file. And I have another file that lives with that, which is B slice. So slice and skite are two different files, which out here where I have an extra command line going, I have a few extra command lines going. You can do an ls and C. I always have this file and this file loaded. Now I might just replace them with a new single file, which as a placeholder for now, I am just calling hello. And I decided to just start streaming on this because I'm going to be looking at a lot of interesting things. And I've also already done some interesting things. This dice.py is actually very interesting. I believe I have that loaded here. Yeah, this is dice.py, and it's taking my current journal, and it's just using a much more memory efficient, and I turned it off there actually, but it's using a much more memory efficient way to output my journal to X number of individual files. So this is a function that is, takes the file name, and then this is let's see. Yeah. For every enumerate. So this is yielding. See that yield? That's really interesting. You don't see that often, and I guess you need to see more of it. It's a streaming thing. This is not returning a value for a single call like normally people think. You got a function, you send it, it's arguments on the parameters. You've got parameters, and each parameter receives its arguments. Those arguments can be all kinds of things. It can be everything from like a 0 and 1, a 1-bit response, to a video file. Streaming is another way of doing it, because sometimes those things you want to send back are too big to do it in one big answer, one big chunk. So it yields, and every time you turn back to the function and say I'm ready for the next, it goes here's the next, and it's very memory efficient. So I actually did use the AI to help me find the most memory efficient way to deal with potentially massive journals. Right? And so that's the answer to that. And it works real nice. So I can just use this. I can dice space. I can just run it, because there's the path to the journal. And I'm putting that stuff now inside a directory called files. So if I go over here and do an ls, you can see I have files, cd into files, ls, rm star, ls, directory is now empty, clear, ls, cd dot dot, ls, python, dice.py. Dice.py is taking my journal and is currently slicing it on a token. It's executing this code. It's finding 80 hyphens, and that's the delimiter. The delimiter between files is when it finds 80 hyphens in a row, which is the thing I use for creating my divisions between blog posts. So now if I cd right back into that files thing where I just removed everything and do an ls there's all those files. And if I vim star, I have just loaded every one of those files into memory in NeoVim. All right, and I can go bn to do next buffer. There's a next file, bn, and see, it's already almost done, right? I am simplifying the whole thing. So you're going to have to do quit twice there if you have multiple files in Vim. So cd dot dot, we don't need to look at that for a little while. It just gets to be a mess to look at. So point being, all that work is this little bit of code. And, it's... this one has an opportunity, I believe. Each chunk that's getting written is the file. So I'm going to be able to look at and manipulate chunk. Specifically, I'm going to be able to insert what I guess in the Jekyll world they call header matter, top matter. And it gets really messy right now. Yeah, nobody here, nobody tuning in. I'm doing something wrong in my streaming. I do have audio turned on. Let me double check the OBS stuff. Testing. Yes, just nobody's interested. Who would be on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock? It's a shame I'm even doing this, but I love this stuff. I just love this stuff. And the parts are in motion big time right now. So you got to really stay on top of it. It's not like you have a choice of, not being on top of what's happening with AI, for example. So that screen is browser. Okay, yeah, so I minimize that thinking it's streaming. It should be minimized, but this is my browser on Windows 3. Muscle memory again. All right, so this is the slice file, and that's very interesting because these are some of the next things I will be doing. In fact, since they're let me make my text editor for this into that. It's not this one, it's the hello program. Yeah, so this hello world program. So you're gonna see we won't need this. I'm gonna get rid of that to be less confusing, right? You use less windows. You strive to just use less windows. When you're done with them, you get rid of them, because now you know generally you're filling up to where you have available. So you can have always have this image of open screens to the right, and you're using your screens up to 4 currently, because it's the 3 that are always used with the things that they're always used for, and the 4th must be where, you know, the action's at. But I will put some of the action in additional buffers here. So I can go colon BADD, bad, that's buffer add to the buffers from very traditional location ~/ repos. See the advantage here of having one of these repos folder? Everything is relative to repos off of home. And what in this case? Well, we are in Skype, and inside of Skype we want the hello program. There it is, because you can use command line completion. If it's there, it'll command line complete, and you know you've got it right. It's a dependency, but it's a dependency in Vim, which are your least bad dependencies. You're gonna get a text editor into muscle memory. Might as well be Vim, is what I say. So let me make sure I have the privacy setting on that stream correct. Did I? Oh yeah, one thing I should probably almost always do with a streaming tab, because it's such a special tab, is to break it off and to put it on its own. Usually the last desktop. I'm up to 8. I don't like 8. 7 is good. And the streaming window all the way to the right. Now you can have the strong concept in your mind. Oh, streaming is just all the way to the right. And I do that with conference calls and, you know, meets and stuff. So that's how you can kind of organize things. We're filled up to here, and here I know that that's a script that we'll get back to in a short while. But in the meantime, I can take, now the whole reason I did this is because I was looking at something and thinking, oh, that's my next step. That's my next step over in hello. We want to arg parse something, anything, it doesn't matter what, and just so that we can see it being passed successfully. So I'm going to take just that one. Well, let's see. I'll start actually with the library. And now I go B space. Now I brought it in, and I know it's called hello, so you can just start typing hello. And there it is. And so I import the library. Now very traditionally you put two returns between your library imports and where commands start. But now that I have arg parse, I can print something other than hello world. I can print whatever came in on arguments. What came in on arguments? Well, that was the other thing I was going to pick up from, was that slice I was in? Yeah, it was slice I was in. So I guess title, because it can be anything. It doesn't matter. And that was hello, paste, and oh, add arg. Oh, add arg. Oh, I must have some language I was using over there. Let me get that. No, I just yeah, I messed stuff up a little there. Yeah, add arg. I did create. I meant to do this. That is more like it. Now, it doesn't matter what argument I'm passing, so long as I'm passing an argument. And then hello world, I can turn that into an F string. You put a little F in front of that, and then you just can put, oh, that was interesting. Oh, very interesting. I'm getting used to how Copilot works. That was unexpected, because that would write over the text that's already there. I didn't see that coming. So I'm gonna, let's see, this is the F string for the P value with less library names. All right, so that's sitting there. That's ready to execute. Oh, and I can test that in another shell to show you how it's supposed to be. And I do end up bringing that shell back that I closed after all. We're up to probably window 5, but anyway, cd Skype, and then hello.py. It will probably throw an error because, oh, Python hello.py, because there's a required, oh yeah, folder is not defined. Maybe it was just F after all. Do have it wrong. I think there's a step I need to do in order to get it out of like a array list kind of object. So that's over in slice, and args dot, right? There's these args dot things. So I grab the pattern basically. Yeah, that's pretty close to what I want. I don't even need that. I can just do args.folder. Print args.folder. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the Copilot. The jury is still out. But let's see if that works. Args is not defined. How is args available to slice? Oh, args is that step. There's args parts, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all right. It's required. That's what I was expecting at the very beginning, right? I'm like, I'm going to get an error because it's a required parameter. And we have to provide -f space something. So that's that. -f space hello world smile. I should just be able to do it like this when there's no spaces. So there's hello world smile, right? All right. So -f is what I'm going to pass as a argument way over here. This is the beginning, right? This is the beginning, and we go to be hello. Oh, that's where we are. We're at be hello. Oh, so I go to be init, and I look over here to where I'm using the hello program. That's on the it's on this line here, right? So there's a hello. Now that's not going to run anymore now without -f something. And what goes in here is the magic thing that I recall back when I was researching how this worked. It was, shall we say, not easy. So it's going to go from that to that. We're basically like interrupting the a string. This is like using pluses and stuff, I guess in Vim script or something. But anyway, As I recall, I'm not going to do this read, pause, enter because something else is going to play the role of that. So I probably only need up to there. Yank. Okay? Now I go down here, and then I go here, and I go paste. And that is probably correct, but if I recall correctly, I don't need anything after that. It closes itself out like that. No, that is not true. This one and this one I don't need. That is closes itself out like that. Now, save. Function F4, which kind of does one of these things. It executes that command, but it didn't like what it saw, and it's reporting it right on that line. Missing, yeah, quote. Maybe I deleted a quote that I needed. Let's get that back. All right. Yeah, okay, it took that. That's my new in memory at Q macro, because mind your P's and Q's, just P reversed, right? I am re-implementing this differently, and I'm trying to get it down to bare bone basics here. So what this is a test where I type at Q. There is the command staged. I hit enter, and we watch the output. Oh, missing quote. Okay. So I'll have to see if I understand this. This is paired with this, so it's breaking, and this is playing the role of a plus sign. And then there's going to be some data that's inserted in here. Now it may be that I need that. Python command is being held together with those quotes. So if these are pluses and that stops, that's a string plus the value of this. And that I believed was be all it would need, but it actually needs one of these in here because that's inside this double quote. So there's the double quote and there's the one that I thought it needed, but maybe it needs I hate these crazy quoting situations. So let's see if I can just bring the command back in my buffer here. That's a trick we do by going colon up arrow. And so I should be able to play around right in here. That is actually it. That's exactly it. Look at that. So all I did was what? Yeah, that was what I thought I tried the first time. That's getting rid of everything up to there. Function F3, F4. Okay, it's back in memory. Oh, yeah, it's rejecting the line. Let's see what Bing has to say about that. Vim script. Let's see what the difference is between that and what we're looking at. Huh. It's showing me the exact same thing. I don't see any difference between what it just showed me by adding a quote to your command like this. That's what I pasted, right? I don't think I made a mistake there. Sometimes you have to copy a lot. Yeah, no, I did that right. All right, so just double checking that it is generating an error there. And now I'm gonna see if it's got to be this double quote, right? Equals that. So at the end, just the double quote and nothing else. Okay, it took it. Now I do at Q. It stages it there, and that all looks correct. I hit enter, and then it comes back with hello world and this whole path that it's in. See, it's the absolute path, and it has all this junk on it because of the way Windows maps these locations to be shared between Windows side and Linux side, but it stays standard Linux system compatible, which is the important thing. Okay, that is a fairly big breakthrough. It seems like a tiny step, but that is the breakthrough I'm looking for. I can pass in the directory you're in, and I'm pretty much losing my steam now. I think I'm gonna just chill out and relax. I didn't bring this to the end, but it certainly sets the stage for another project. I'm going to know right where to set in again. And it's like, well, is your work safe? Is stuff backed up? Well, yeah, because when you quit out, it takes 2 quits because multiple things are loaded. Oh, no write on, oh, this is different on NeoVim. It lets you switch between buffers even if you didn't write. And so I know that is here. So, oh, it jumps you to that buffer. That's kind of it. Now, the double quit again, and the end of the all script that I have shown you from time to time in videos, which has never quit so long as you were editing. It was this script that ran and got all those files into the Vim buffers, and when you quit out, quitting twice because there's multiple buffers and it wants to make sure you really mean it, it finishes running that script, which commits and pushes back up all the repos that were loaded into the buffers. That way you're always editing your hot on deck files, and it can be any selection of files you like. I happen to do a few journals, a few programming files, .py files, and a couple of markdown files from critical places and different websites that I have published as markdown through the GitHub Pages system. So there you have it. A lot of stuff covered. I wonder if there's anyone even here. Yeah, very few. Anyway, good night all, and I hope some people who get some value of this catch it on the rebound on the normal YouTube videos.